Rule 6. Never inquire teachers outside the school building. I raised my hand to ask, "Miss, what if I seek your guidance outside the school building?" After a brief, unsettling silence, the teacher's lips creepily stretched to her ears. "You'd meet your demise. Welcome to Cresthill Academy, an institute shrouded in local folklore. Legend has it that only parents who receive a mysterious brochure can enroll their children here. Graduates from Cresthill are rumored to become exceptionally obedient kids. As for me, I'm an aficionado of such eerie tales. I secured this spot by paying a substantial sum to a couple." I shook my head at the teacher, her mouth gaping grotesquely. "Thanks, Mississippi. I have no further inquiries." Her gaze drifted away, seemingly in disappointment. A hushed terror pervaded the classroom. My classmates wore expressions of horror, yet silence reigned. I lowered my head, thoughtfully examining the freshly distributed Cresthill Academy student code. Rule 1. The Academy operates a rigorous 5-day, sealed training program. The main gates are strictly forbidden during this period. Rule 2. Mealtimes are strictly observed, 7:30 to 8 o'clock for breakfast, 12 to 12:30 for lunch, and 18 to 18:50 for dinner. Students must consume meals in the dining hall during these periods to ensure proper nutrition, a cornerstone of successful completion. Rule 3. The Academy houses students in triple occupancy dorms. Room swapping is prohibited. Dormitories lock from 1910 until the next morning at 7:20. Students must remain inside during this period and maintain quiet after lights out. Rule 4. Active participation in classes, thoughtful responses to queries, and diligent homework completion are mandatory. Rule 5. Noise, roughhousing, and running are not permitted within the academic building. Rule 6. Instructors are eager to resolve any queries, offering precise answers. Due to their busy schedules, responses will be brief. Students are to refrain from questioning instructors outside the academic building. Each student is granted one query per day. Rule 7. The primary objective for students is to learn. Questions for instructors are encouraged at any time. However, refrain from bothering non-teaching staff, as they may not provide accurate guidance. Rule 8. Class hours are 8:20 to 11:40 and 13:50 to 17:45. Tardiness and absenteeism are not tolerated. Students must be in their designated class and seat during class hours and should retreat to their dorms for self-study otherwise. Rule 9. Cresthill Academy conducts a comprehensive test at 13:50 on the 5th day to ascertain if students have achieved their learning objectives. Those failing to graduate will face disciplinary actions. Rule 10. A standard academy uniform is mandatory within the campus. Rule 11. Attempts to leave the academy during the training period are strictly prohibited. Rule 12. Each student starts with 3 points. Deductions for rule infractions will be made, and reaching 0 points will result in discipline. Adherence to these rules is crucial for successful completion and graduation. The teacher, her grin unnaturally wide, surveyed the room. That concludes our introduction. I trust you will all adhere to these guidelines and strive for your ultimate goal, a successful graduation. As the bell signaled the end of the class, the teacher gathered her books and departed. The room erupted in whispers. I surveyed the surroundings, my gaze fixing on the digital clock. 17:49. Phones were confiscated upon entry. My wristwatch confirmed the precise time. According to the map on the handbook's reverse, the dining hall wasn't far. With only 10 minutes to spare, it was prudent to head there immediately. On my way, I noticed many students chatting and laughing, seemingly unaware of the lurking dread. I arrived at the dining hall with minutes to spare and joined the queue. A stocky boy ahead grumbled about the meager portions, requesting extra rice. The cafeteria worker obliged, cautioning him against wastefulness. I settled in a secluded spot. The rules seemed incomplete. The handbook encouraged questions to instructors anytime, yet forbade inquiries outside the academic building. The contradiction implied that questions were permissible only within the building. The repercussions for rule breaking were ambiguous, a fact I'd learned through inquiry. Information was crucial for survival. Suddenly, a commotion arose at the dining hall entrance. The doors shut abruptly at 1800 hours. Latecomers were locked out, the glass doors immovable as if sealed. An eerie silence enveloped the dining hall as a torrential rain began outside. Students caught in the deluge disturbingly melted away, their forms dissolving under the rain like clay figures. Some pounded on the doors in vain, others ran for shelter, only to collapse as their bodies disintegrated. The dining hall, once abuzz, was now eerily quiet. The boy who had asked for extra rice retched violently. 18:50. The strange rain ceased, and those stranded outside vanished as if absorbed into the earth. The dining hall doors reopened on schedule. After witnessing the horror, I felt queasy but resisted the discomfort, hastening to the dormitory as per the handbook's map. Rule 3, triple occupancy dorms, no room swapping, doors lock at 19:10 until 7:20 the next morning. I located my assigned room, 311, Jack Chin, Rose Wang, Hannah Green. I entered. My roommates hadn't arrived yet. I hoped they hadn't been caught in the downpour. The dorm featured traditional loft beds with desks below. Each bed bore our names, and neatly folded white uniforms with a large black 3 on the back lay on the desks. I changed into my uniform. The number likely represented the points mentioned in the handbook, but the criteria for deductions and the specifics of punishments were unclear. Was the teacher's ominous warning of death literal? I pondered over this as a girl with a cherubic face entered the room. A digital clock on the door read 19:03. Hello, I nodded in greeting. I'm Jack Chin. Hello. The girl with the baby face found her bed next to mine and sat down, her voice trembling. I'm Rose Wang. I realized she was shaking too. No wonder, after witnessing the scene in the cafeteria, even the boy who seemed so carefree earlier reacted strongly. You saw it too, right? Rose initiated a conversation as I struggled to find the right words. The cafeteria? I hesitated. Yes, I saw it. I want to go home, she said, trying to control her shaking. I remained silent. Comforting others was never my strength, especially in life-threatening situations where words felt powerless. Rule 1, the Academy operates a rigorous 5-day, sealed training program. The main gates are strictly forbidden during this period. Rule 11, do not attempt to leave the Academy during the training period. The sound of the dormitory door opening echoed again. 1908. A tall, slender girl with short hair entered, breathing heavily from what must have been a brisk walk. This was undoubtedly Hannah Green. I took the opportunity to distract from comforting Rose. Hannah, right? I'm Jack, and this is Rose. After greetings, Hannah picked up her uniform, revealing a 2 on the back. Rule 12. Each student starts with 3 points. Points will be deducted for breaking rules, and students reaching 0 points will be disciplined. Rose and I still had 3. Hannah must have broken a rule. I pondered over the handbook's rules, recalling each one. Hannah seemed to read my mind. Rule 11. She sat down, pulling out a pack of gum and popping a piece into her mouth. Rule 11. Do not attempt to leave the academy during training. Reckless, I thought, but didn't voice it out loud. Can you share what happened? I asked cautiously, offering to share the information I had gathered. Hannah caught her breath. After leaving the cafeteria, I followed a group heading towards the perimeter wall. I thought I could make it back to the dorm in time. Her voice tightened. They climbed the wall but came down one by one. I thought some rules might not have consequences, but I was curious what they saw, why they didn't just escape. So, I climbed up too. What I saw was she clenched her hair. Darkness. Nothing but darkness. I threw a stone down, and it took more than half a minute before I heard nothing. I didn't wait any longer, fearing I'd run out of time. The punishment for breaking Rule 11 was a point deduction. 3 points seemed ample, but in reality, everyone only had 2 chances. Rule 12. Points reaching 0 will result in discipline. I was about to share my analysis when the dormitory's bell rang piercingly. We all looked up at the digital clock on the door. 19:10. Rain started falling outside again. Rose, Hannah, and I weren't in the same class, so they didn't know about the teacher's bizarre behavior today. I shared what I knew with them. This means our daily question is crucial, Hannah noted, looking at Rose. We need to use it tomorrow. What should we ask? Rose buried her face in her knees, her idea of going home dashed after hearing Hannah's story. Surviving the next 5 days was up to us. Let's think of questions tonight, I suggested. We'll meet here every evening to share and analyze the information we gather. Hannah and Rose agreed. I reviewed the student handbook and assigned them questions. Hannah's question: are there any unspoken rules with penalties beyond the handbook? Rose's question: what happens to students who are disciplined? My question: is there a way for us to escape? I also asked Rose and Hannah to approach their teachers individually after class with these questions. My actions yesterday might have hinted at the importance of the daily question to some students. More would realize this tomorrow. Asking publicly in class, like I did today, meant sharing potentially life-saving information freely. That would be foolish. We couldn't assume everyone was selflessly altruistic. Heroes in horror stories rarely survive till the end. We needed to keep vital information as leverage for trading with others. 2200 hours. Melodious music played throughout the dormitory, followed by an announcement. Dear students, the dormitory lights will go out in 30 minutes. Please maintain quiet after lights out and rest in your beds. Prepare for tomorrow's lessons and successful completion. There are no dorm supervisors, and no room checks will be conducted. Please lock your doors and windows before lights out. Avoid creating any light to not disturb others. Thank you for your cooperation. The music ceased. Hannah picked up her notebook. That's our dormitory rules. 1. Lights out at 10:30. 2. Lock doors and windows. 3. Maintain silence after lights out. 4. Light brings unknown dangers. 5. Stay in your beds after lights out. I memorized them quickly, while Rose scribbled them down. One more rule I suddenly remembered from the student handbook. Rule 3. Maintain silence in your dormitory after lights out. This was actually 2 requirements. 1. Stay in your dormitory. 2. Maintain silence. Hidden rule: do not leave your dormitory after lights out. I shared my discovery with Hannah and Rose. Hannah thought for a moment. Let's change my question. Her question now: are all meals to be eaten in the cafeteria essential for successful completion? Rule 2. Proper nutrition is the foundation for successful completion. Back to the present, I couldn't sleep, half awake in the darkness, sensing subtle changes around me. Occasional sounds of fabric rustling came from the other beds. They couldn't sleep either. Only my mechanical watch offered any sense of time in the lightless room. After an indeterminate time, footsteps echoed outside, slow but rhythmic. They twisted each doorknob, then knocked 4 times. When it reached a dorm near us, a commotion broke out. "You doing what?" Xiao Fei. "Are you crazy? Don't open the door. Help me hold her." They failed to stop her, as I heard their door open. Screams erupted from the room, followed by silence as each occupant was subdued. The mysterious being continued its routine, checking each door and knocking. Tonight's screams ebbed and flowed like waves, sometimes distant, sometimes close. I eventually fell asleep amidst this terror.
Thank you for taking the time to watch. If this video connected with you, I'd be grateful for your follow. Your likes and comments are not just numbers to me, they're a source of inspiration and encouragement. Your support truly means the world.